All right, so everyone, welcome back. What we're going to be doing today is setting up a GitLab runner, just a Docker one, but we're going to do it in a really cool way. I find it really hard to manage the configuration, and it's just kind of a big pain. So what we're going to do is make a custom Docker container. With this custom container, we're going to pretty much just wrap the original one and do a custom entry point script. So let's get into that. I have this project, which I'll put a link in the description so you guys can clone this. I'll make it public so anyone can just kind of pull this down and check it out. You can either pull my container or feel free to create your own. I think the fun experience is creating your own. And there's a little bonus at the end. We're going to do a multi-architecture Docker build. So this will work for ARM and 64-bit processors. So that way you can run this on your Raspberry Pi or a VM on your Proxmox server, and it doesn't matter. You know, because I was running into that before, so I got that all figured out for you. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to want to start with is, let's just start with the Docker file so we kind of get like a game plan. We can pin this to a version, or we can do the latest one. So in the future, I'll probably be pinning this to a specific version because you want this to work. But you know what, let's do that right now. So let's go to Docker Hub here. And then you just go to tags, and then the latest one, bleeding. Bleeding sound. I don't know what the bleeding means. Yeah, it's kind of a hard choice. They have some weird versioning going on here. You know what? Let's just stick with latest. The Docker file is very simple. We're basically just wrapping the GitLab runner, the official image. We're going to copy in this custom entry point script. We have a template for the config. All we do is make the entry point executable and run the entry point. It's that simple. So let's go ahead and move right into the entry point script. And what happens is we're going to set some default values. So these are all the settings that we want to do. And if you go through the config template and you want to add some custom ones in, you can just follow this example. So I'm going to do Alpine as the default image. We're going to say not privileged, concurrency. You know what? Yeah, 3's fine. Check interval. This is going to be the fastest way, but you can override that. Log level info. You can change this to like runner or JSON. I like to do 9252 for the metrics port. And if you want to remove that, you're just going to have to go make a custom template and remove that because I have metrics built in. I like to get my runner metrics. So also I added the support, and if you want to do a token file instead of passing your token through an environment variable, you can just do the absolute path of where that's at, and then it'll read it into the access token. Or you can set the environment variable, but it's going to do a check to make sure it's set. If not, it'll give you this error and then exit. After that, we're going to generate the runner config using sed. And so we're just going to make sure this directory exists. It should. And then it's very simple. We're going to take this pattern, concurrent. So that's kind of the structure I did. And then it's going to do just a string replace right there and swap it in for whatever was set up here. Basically, go through that template and it's going to set every single thing. And then it's going to copy it into the official config.toml, exactly where it should be. It's just going to give you a nice little message saying, oh, it was generated there. After here, if the log level was debug, because sometimes you're going to run into some issues, it's just going to cat out that file so you can see what the string replace did. And then, yeah, you just start the GitLab runner, and then it should connect. Super simple. Well, pretty much simple. It's just like, let's make this template, copy it into where it should be, and just put our values in. Very simple. And then here's like an example. I left an example one in. So you can name it. You're just going to do gitlab.com. You can set that variable if you have your own GitLab instance, which you might. So now the only thing that we need to do is register a runner and then test this bad boy out. So you can do it two ways. So you can come through, so like here's like my GitLab group. I'll go to my public one where I'm going to make this. And then if you click on, build runners, boom, it'll take you to this page. So this will show you all of the runners that you have on this group. If I go to like my main group, it'll show me all the runners in that group. So if you make a group, put it whichever group you want to do. So you could do new group runner and do it this way, but I made a script that you could use. So what we need to do is go back here. It takes in your GitLab group ID. So you would copy this group ID, put it right there. And then you do need to have your access token, your GitLab token set. So just make sure you set that GitLab token. You can do it in an environment variable or do it right here, whichever you want. And then you're going to set some runner tags. So these are what you're going to use in the pipeline to test out your runner. So, or not to test out, to just say, hey, use that runner. So I'm going to, if I have spackle, public, and test as my tags, this runner will pick those jobs up and run it. And then description, exactly what that is, just description of your runner. Again, this is going to test just to make sure you set your GitLab token. If not, I'll just show you how to set it. Really simple. This just does a curl statement. It just calls the GitLab API. I guess to make this a little better, what I could do is, let's say GitLab URL. I know some of you guys have your own GitLab, instances that you guys deploy. So you can go ahead and set that there. It'll just default to that. Yeah, it's going to use that GitLab token in the header, and then it's just going to create a group runner on that group ID, runner description, tag list. So very simple. You should have JQ installed on your machine. If not, just you don't have to do this manually, but this will just read out that token and put it in a runner access token file right here. And the reason I did that is in the Docker Compose, we're going to use that access token to test this runner out. Get your terminal out. And then if this is your first time, you just need to do a chmod +x register runner. Boom. So that should be good to go. So now we're just going to run this script. Boom. And that runner was registered. And now you can see I have an access token. It's not a big deal. I'm going to delete this token. So now basically what we're going to do is you could either copy this, and then we're going to go to the Docker Compose. You can set the token here like that and uncomment this out. Just make sure you get rid of this one. And then comment that out. Boom. So you can pick whichever one you want to do. I think it's a little more secure doing the file binding, because then you actually have some Linux security on the file system. So, so yeah, let's go ahead and use the temp token. So I'm just gonna put in temp token. So I'm just gonna bind this token in. Let me fix some of these. And I think you don't have a trailing slash. No trailing slash. So I'm gonna put that here. There's just some comments for you. So I could also do JSON logs, but I'm just gonna put these in so you can know how you could set them up. And I'm just gonna do concurrency of 1 because we're just testing this out. So we need to build this thing now. So I have this script that I wrote, and this makes it pretty easy. So we're gonna specify, we're gonna specify the Docker file, which is just Docker file. And then this is the path to my project. So if I go over here, so I can reconstruct this. So here's the the private one. I'm gonna make a public one. So there is that. So you can see basically everything matches up, except you have to add registry at the beginning, and then you don't use HTTPS. So that's how you do it. It's really simple to point to your container registry on your project. That is literally all you do. And then let's make this smaller again. Oh yeah, that's the registry, registry.gitlab.com. You have the version that you want to build it as. Do I even use this? Okay, yeah, so you use container registry because you need to log into it. So I'm going to log into the GitLab registry. I'm going to use my username, and then you can use your GitLab token. So your registry username, your registry token. And then we're going to use buildx. So you're going to pull the stable buildx container. And this is really trivial. You don't have to change any of this. It's just going to make a builder. And then it's going to make sure it makes a new builder. If a builder already exists, it's just going to make a brand new one. Over here, you're going to use the builder. And you can watch a Docker buildx video where they'll go into a lot more detail. But essentially, we're just creating a multi-arch builder right here. And then we're going to use buildkit equals, buildkit on. And then we're going to do a sudo docker buildx build. You don't have to do no cache. I just like it because it just does it fresh every build. And then here's the platforms. So we're going to specify the AMD 64 and the ARM 64. So this should work for like a Raspberry Pi 4, Raspberry Pi 3, 4, and I guess 5. I don't know why I have a build argument of traffic version on here. I definitely don't need that. And then, yeah, we're specifying that Docker file. And then this is what's really cool. It's going to build the latest and the versioned one at the same time and push it for you. So that'll run that whole command, and then it'll just show you the manifest after. So 2 ways of doing this. I have a make file, so you can just say make multi, or you can just run the script. But we do need to do chmod plus x build multi. Okay, so we have that done. So we can do make multi, which is just going to run the script. Boom. So it's going to log in. Now it's going to create that builder. And then while this is running, so this is just going to take a minute. It's just going to, well, it's not really even a huge build. It's just copying in a file and then pushing it up. But you can notice the first time you do it, it might take a while to do the ARM build. I don't know why, it just takes a minute. So if it is taking a while, don't even worry. Mine took like 5 minutes the first time, which was kind of crazy. But boom, so there we go. And then with GitLab, I did notice it doesn't accept the multi-architecture manifest very well. It gives you these 2 unknowns. But you can see right here, we're completely built. You know, like we have ARM64, AMD64. So when you pull these, it should pull the correct one automatically. So you shouldn't have to worry about it. Also, what we can do at the same time is if you look at the GitLab pipeline for this, we're going to do the same exact thing. So I'm going to show you how to use buildx in the pipeline. And this is completely reusable for any build. So same thing as before. We're going to specify our image version, which you can also do it a different way with the CI registry image. But I just wanted this to match the script so you can see how this works. So we're going to have a login reusable job here. We're just going to echo the CI job token. We're going to log into the registry using all the GitLab built-in variables. So then we also have a logout script. So now we're going to do the build stage. So we're going to use Docker, Docker, and Docker. That's how you set that up. Really simple. And then, so before we do anything, we're going to log in. And then after, we're going to log out. That's just for security, for the logout. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. So since we know we don't have to make a new builder, we'll just create one every time. So we do the same thing as before, bootstrap a new builder using buildx stable. And then we just run the same thing. So we're going to build, no cache, push, both architectures. We're going to do the Docker file, and we're going to assume it's always Docker file unless we set it as something else. And we can do that wherever as a variable. And then, yeah, we just do the version and latest, and then we push it. So I'm going to say only ref. So I'm going to have this only run on the master branch, which will push right to this. So we're going to say git add everything. Update. And then we're going to say git push. Boom. So now if we go here to the project, we should check this pipeline. And it's running that multi-arch build. So this will do the same thing. So if you want to do a more GitOps approach, you don't have to build it on your system. You can literally just copy this whole project, just set it up for your repo, update your image here, and it'll totally work. So this should just run. So we're going to let that run. But in the meantime, let's go check out our runners. So if we go to public, so this is the group I'm putting it under. We need to make sure that we registered our runner correctly. So if you go to build runners, you go here, here's that new runner that we registered, but you can see it's never been contacted. So this runner is never turned on. You know, there's that name that we gave it, test runner, the tags and everything. So now that we actually have a container, let's go to this Docker Compose. We're just specifying our image we just made. I'm specifying this on an already created network, but you don't have to do that. You could just comment these out if you want. Boom. So we have 2 ways of starting it again. I have a make file, so you can just say make start. And then it's gonna pull that container. I'm just showing you how to do like a single node Docker instance. Like you could run this on a Raspberry Pi, a virtual machine. You could deploy this through Portainer. There we go. So, okay. It looks like it generated the runner config. And then it successfully did it, starting the runner. And it looks like everything started up correctly. So if we go over here, let's refresh this page. Ooh, it looks like it contacted. It's online. And we are ready to go. So something we can do really quick to just test this out is let's go just make an example blank project. We're going to call it custom runner. And then for right now, I'm just going to do this pipeline. If you ever just need to do some quick pipeline editing, the pipeline editor is perfect. So let's configure a pipeline. What we need to do is specify here. Let's just delete all this junk here. So what we need to do is specify the tags. So I'm going to say default tags. So this is where we're going to say, what was it? Spackle public, and I can just look at my script here. Public test. So, oops. So this should run these jobs on my runner right here. And if I do run it successfully, it should show up in this terminal. So it should show it, pick it up, and then run the job. So let's create one. So we need to create a stage first. Let's just call it runner test. Oops. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do first. So we're gonna say runner test. Let's create this job. So I kind of like doing it with the underscores. It's easier to copy. So runner test, and then we're gonna do a script. We're just gonna say echo I am working. You know, and if say we want to just run this job on those tags, boom. So let's commit these changes. Pipeline syntax correct. Ooh, add a job to processing list. There it is right here. So now we go to pipelines, and it already finished. It was very fast. But there it is. Boom. I am working. And it ran it on Spackle public test. We have that job right here, and you can see it updated job, submitting job to coordinator, everything right here. So we have a total working runner, and also at the same time, so if I take this runner offline and I try to restart this job, see how it's pending? It's stuck. So if I say docker compose up -d, run that in the background. So now our runner's up. Ooh, now it picked up that job. So now we can kind of see it more in action. There it is. Bam, I'm working. And if you notice, it did it with the default Alpine container, which was what we set. So it's pretty cool. You know what? Let's give you guys just a little extra. I'm going to give you guys a little bonus. Let's get back to the pipeline editor. I'm going to show you just how a runner works. So very simple. So something hidden here, because we set a default image. So if I said Alpine latest, right? That's what I set the image as. If I commit these changes, let's open this in a new tab. So we're gonna go over here. We updated it. And if you see, like, it didn't really take that much longer. It's still using the Alpine latest container. But now, here, let's get back to pipelines. So now let's say I use a different image. Now I use Ubuntu. So now watch the speed difference. So picked up that new job. So now what it's got to do is it's saying Ubuntu latest. It's got to pull that image. So it takes a little longer because it's not ready. It's not cached up. Whereas over here, it's already going to be, or before it's going to be using that Alpine image. When you do a container here, so you have your runner. And then what this does is say you have like a Git repo up here. Well, it's going to be looking for these jobs to run, and then it's going to like kind of, well, I think more of like a git pull. It's going to pull your code, you know? So it's going to pull your source code down, which I don't know why this is all in pink, but it is. So then it's got your source code. And that's going to be everything in that repo. And then in your runner section, you have before script, and then it's got after script. And after script runs at the very end always. So let's do this as like a timeline here. So it's going to do a git pull, then it's going to pull the source code down, you know. But also before it does this, it also will like configure the environment. So let's configure. So that'll be like the env, like the environment variables, right? Then it's going to do a git pull on your code. So it pulls your project down every job, you know, so it'll always start fresh with a new project. Then it will run your before script. And then from your before script, we go to the regular script. Boom. And then from this script, you go to the after script. But also at the same time, this after script runs on fail. That's kind of what it does. So it's going to do some script on your code, some other one, and then another one. And then that can do whatever you want. So that could talk to like some secret provider. And then you might do some script where you might like deploy. And then over here, maybe you do log out, like a notification. Yeah, that's kind of just simply all it's doing, like at a high level. And then at the same time, part of the configuring that environment, it might also pull an image. So that's all we're doing. So now if we go back here and you look, I have some stages that I'm going to do. Then I'm going to say, okay, use the Ubuntu image. I might say variables, right? I'm working, echo, and I can say, like that. So now let's make this go back to Alpine, commit these changes. Let's check the pipelines that are running. There it is. Bam. Boom. Echo foo bar. So it's really simple. That's all it's doing. And then you have access to whatever utilities are in here. So like instead I do this. So then when it does that, I should be able to pipe it with JQ. And then I'm going to just give it a colored output. But if JQ doesn't exist, let's see what happens. Can't remember if it exists on Alpine. Oh, JQ not found. So it's like, okay. So how do I do that? I'm going to say APK add JQ. I'm going to have to install that. So you can start to see you might want to make some custom runner images that might have some tools that you use all the time. So that way you don't have to like do this stuff inside your pipeline project. Which I might have messed that up. See, oh yeah, I think, okay, so let's commit that. Let's fix that. Little bugs. There we go, foo bar, boom, I'm gonna use JQ. But you can see I actually had to install JQ. So that's how runners work. This is pretty much a fun project. Now you can deploy this runner anywhere. Yeah, I mean, show me guys what you're doing. You could do some scheduled pipelines. You could do some fun things now. So now you can run code at your home and have your runner do anything. So it could talk to your home assistant. It could just build your Docker containers. It could create notifications to one of your local VMs and talk to it over HTTP. I mean, it's endless. We're gonna start using pipelines in all my videos, so stay updated. I'm gonna try to make it fun and have some cool repos for some cool like scheduled pipeline projects, whatnot. But let me know what you guys need help with and what you guys are doing in your home lab and how you guys are utilizing pipelines if you are, or let me know how this goes setting it up. Thanks everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Have fun doing your pipelines and automation. I think it's a lot of fun. This will really help you out too, just like as a developer, and I'm excited for you guys. So give me your feedback, let me know, and hope you guys have a good rest of your day.